All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education meeting for September 25th, 2023 to order. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick. Mr. Claus.
Here.
Mrs. McConnell.
Here.
Dr. Rankin.
Here.
Mrs. Ross. Mr. Wilson.
Here.
President Murphy.
Here.
We have 6 present.
Thank you. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, I'd like to just bring attention to the boards to my left and to my right. To my left here, we have the School of Jameson, where we rise by lifting others, and the pictures that are up here for it. It's an amazing school if you've never been out there, and the programs that they offer for their students, and this just shows here in some of the pictures that they've got. So if you get a chance after the meeting, take a look at that. And then to my right over here, the boards from Northmore. I mean, if this doesn't get you into the fall spirit, I don't think that anything will, right? So we've got some googly eyes and everything here. I'm sure that they worked very hard on this, and it shows. So thank you to both Northmore and to Jameson Schools for their boards this week. All right, moving on. Before we begin, I would ask for a motion to amend the agenda to include a first reading of revisions to Board Policy 3:40 to require the superintendent to live within the District 150 boundaries, which is germane to Board Policy 3:4 on the deliberation agenda. Can I get a motion?
Oh, so moved.
Second.
All right. And then, Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Costick. Mr. Claus.
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell.
Aye.
Dr. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
President Murphy.
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. We'll go ahead and begin real quick with announcements. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, President Murphy. 2023, those who excel in Don Ferris Award nominations. Applications are open for the 2023 Those Who Excel Awards by the Illinois State Board of Education. Take the opportunity to recognize the outstanding educators in our district by submitting a nomination. Nominations are due on October 5th. Go to psd150.org/those who excel to complete your nomination.
Thank you.
Passion First, our second mindset within the newly adopted 7 Mindset curriculum is Passion First. Until October 20th, students, staff, and parents will be exploring different ways to focus on strengths, explore their interests, take a stand, and be authentic.
Good evening, everyone. President Murphy, Manual High School Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. Manual High School is celebrating on Thursday, September 28th from 5 to 8 p.m. Come out and enjoy student-led program with art displays, dinner, and so much more. That's Thursday, September 28th, Manual High School Heritage Celebration.
Thank you. Costick.
Good evening. Fall break. Reminder that fall break is from October the 9th through the 20th for all schools except Valeska Hinton, and the Knoxville Center, both of which will be on fall break from October the 2nd through October the 20th. Fall sessions for all schools will be held from October the 9th through the 13th. Thank you.
SIP Day reminder. Reminder that this Wednesday, September 27th, will be a half day for students. Schools normally ending at 2:30 will end at 10:30. Schools normally ending at 3:30 will end at 11:30. There was no school for Valeska Hinton students this Wednesday. Custodian Appreciation Day. Next Monday, October 2nd, is Custodian Appreciation Day. Thank you to all PPS custodians who work hard every day to provide clean and functioning spaces for our students and staff. Make sure to show your appreciation next Monday.
Thank you. PPS Foundation Classroom Grant Program. Do you have an idea for a project to enrich the classroom experience for your students? The PPS Foundation can fund your ideas with the Classroom Grant Program. Links to the applications can be found in the e-newsletter or at www.ppsfoundation.org. Reminder that all applications must be submitted online by October 1st. FAFSA opens October 1st. Attention high schoolers, the free application for Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA, opens this Saturday, October 1st. Filling out the FAFSA as soon as possible is required for anyone seeking financial aid towards college or technical schools. Reach out to your school counselor for more information. All right, we're going to move along to awards and recognitions. The first one we have up is the Sterling Discipline Update by Eliza Brooks.
Good evening, Board, President Murphy. Tonight, I just wanted to celebrate a little bit with you. Sterling Middle School has seen a significant decrease in discipline for the first month of school. In the 2022-23 school year, during the month of August, Sterling had 521 offenses. This year, they had 100. The decrease was also evident in the number of out-of-school suspensions in August. Sterling went from 62% to a rate of 4.9 in 2023. The attendance is also going up. It went up to 91.3. So I just wanted to take a little time to celebrate Miss Lane. She's been working really hard over at Sterling. So I just wanted to let the board know that she's doing some great things and it's starting to pay off. So come on up, Sterling. We're going to celebrate you. People. Come on up, Sterling.
No, you guys need to stand up and be recognized.
Come on up, Sterling staff. Yep,
Officer
there you go.
Parker, stand
Come on
up.
up.
I just want to thank the board and Ms. Brooks for recognizing us. My team has been working extremely hard, day in, day out. Teacher attendance has been up, student attendance has been up, and so we have been implementing 7 mindsets, continuing to try to have student voice lead and guide us in helping to make decisions, and it seems to be bringing referrals down. Obviously, we still have good days and bad days. We keep pushing through those bad days and continuing to look and make adjustments so that we can continue to make improvements. Now, we will continue to focus on increasing attendance, decreasing referrals, and increasing our academic and student engagement. So we're excited for all the things that are coming, and it's all due to the team behind me and those that could not be here with us tonight. So without them, we would not have been this successful so far. So I'm super proud of all of them.
And just along the same lines of that, we all are very grateful for what you guys are doing as well. You thank the board, but we're thanking you for seeing that dramatic decrease in those. So thank you guys. And could you go ahead and identify the people who took the time to show up tonight with you?
Officer Parker, our resource officer, also for the Peoria Park District. Yeah. Katie Malahi, assistant principal. Elijah Steffi, technology teacher. Ria Matos, 5th grade science and math. Mr. Jaime Lahara, he is our 5th grade special education teacher. Miss Amanda Patty, 6th grade math. Miss Emmer, 6th grade special education. Miss Henry, 6th grade social studies and science.
Thank you all very much. No, don't go anywhere. You guys have to get your picture. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks.
Nice. Thank you. All right, moving on to Richwoods High School, Best in Area, Dr. Michelle Hassan.
Good evening, Board President Murphy, Vice President Dr. Ranking, distinguished board members, and Superintendent Dr. Karat. And audience, thank you so much for being here. In the 2023-2024 Best High Schools, as cited by U.S. News and World Reports, Richwoods High School ranked 141st out of 723 high schools in Illinois. Richwoods ranks 3,832nd nationally out of 17,600 schools that are evaluated at the national, state, and local levels. This evening, we're here to acknowledge their principal, Mr. Robeson, the administration, the staff, the students, the parents, and the PTO, because Richwoods is ranked number 5 in the Peoria metropolitan area. And schools are ranked based on their performance on state-required AP and IB tests, their graduation rate, and how well they prepare students for college. And so Richwoods' graduation rate is 90%. And their students' proficiency in math, reading, and science exceeded the state levels. And so although Richwoods rates 5th, it really stands out amongst its peers in the area because of its diversity and achievement combined. They are really unparalleled. And so Knights, we are so proud of your perseverance, your dedication, and your commitment. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating the Knights. They live up to their motto as the standard of excellence.
Come on, everybody up. It's our family. There we go.
He's a good person.
All right. First and foremost, board, Dr. Karat, Dr. Hassan, thank you so much for having us here. It is our pleasure to be back where we feel Richwoods belongs as the standard of excellence. We talked last year about not lowering the standard and instead raising the bar every day, doing our best, getting back to what we do, which is putting in place the best possible environment for teaching and learning. And like Dr. Hassan said, there's no school like Richwoods High School. Our diversity, our excellence, our staff, our students, our families, everybody at Richwoods is dedicated to the mission of educating our kids to be ready for their next step. One thing that I did notice from our rankings is we were actually second when it comes to getting kids ready for college in the area. So that's pretty amazing. Our kids are ready for college. They come back and they tell us how well prepared they are, and that is the dedication of each and every one of these amazing people that you see up here. We couldn't have done it without them. We couldn't have done it without everybody's support. And next year we're going to shoot for the moon. We're going to keep going, and we're going to just try and improve and gain and put, like I said, put in place the best possible learning environment and remember to be the standard of excellence in everything that we do. So thank you guys. Thank you for having us. And this is how we do it.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you very much. And if you wouldn't mind at this time, could you go ahead and, I know you've got a large team up there, but I want to hear it. Give them their time.
If you don't mind, I would like them to all introduce themselves.
Very smart, very smart. Yep, go ahead.
So I'm Billy
Yes.
Robinson. This is my large and amazing family, and I will let everybody introduce themselves.
Yeah, tell us your name and what you do there.
I am Dr. Renee Andrews. I am the assistant principal over seniors. Go graduation, right?
Yeah.
But thank
Yeah.
you guys so much.
Mr. Jeff Cruzen. I am the sophomore assistant principal until December, and then I'll be the new athletic director in January.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm Ryan Morrison, assistant principal over the juniors. Mr. Fauser is our freshman AP who is supervising our sporting events that's going on for tonight.
Good evening. My name is Coletta Parks. I'm the front office secretary at Richwoods High School, and every morning I greet everyone with good morning.
Love that. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Joe Baumgartner. I teach chemistry over there and parent of a couple kids who'll be going to Richwoods in 2
Yep.
years.
You are, yeah.
Hello, I'm Paul Schramm. I'm currently an algebra teacher at Richwoods High School.
Beth Funcannon, I'm a counselor at Richwoods High School. I work with students' last names L through Rob. Such as?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Vidrina Al, and I'm the co-president of the French club, member of the tennis team, and the NR club.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Daryl Kaduri, and I do football and track.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Colin Clark, and I'm part of the football team and track team.
Hey.
Sherry Lemie, one of the school counselors and also a proud parent of a Richwood student.
I'm Ashley Rennick, and I teach English at Richwoods.
Nice.
I'm Julian Payne. I'm a senior at Richwoods and interact in newspaper.
Nice.
I'm Olivia Reynolds. My name is Teresa Bartlemy, and I'm the president of the Mod United Nations Club, and we're both on the tennis team.
Okay.
Patrick Hogan. I teach social studies and coach golf and baseball.
I'm Dan Moore. I also teach social studies, and I coach the Scholastic Bowl team.
Okay.
Corey Curtis. I teach financial literature and IB History of the Americas.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Knights.
The Knights. You guys can all pull together. They're going to take your picture. If you guys can all kind of gather around that podium. And while you guys are doing that, obviously we want to say thank you. But another great accomplishment for Richwoods is that IB program that you guys offer up there. That really sets us apart in the state, and we're very proud of that program. And just to relate to some of you who got up there and spoke, if you want any kind of personal relation, I was on tennis. So for the ones who are on the tennis team, I was also on the school newspaper. So for you that was on school newspaper, keep going with that. And for the counselor that has L through Z, I've got 4 kids who are about ready to hit high school in the next few years. So be ready for the Murphys when they come through Richwood. So.
And I just want to say, as a Richwoods parent, you haven't seen me very much other than Dr. Andrews. I'm trying to do my best not to be the school board member who's at your school too often. However, I do want to say one of you up there is my son's favorite teacher. So I am so glad to finally meet you. I haven't been able to make it to any of the events. So as a Richwood parent, I'm also proud.
One more.
I'm an AP man.
That was good.
I thought we were
One, two. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. And as we get ready for this next portion of the Most Improved Attendance Award for August by Dr. Sharon Desmoulins-Carat, I do want to remind everybody that at 7 p.m. we do have to have a hard stop for our budget hearing, and then we'll resume where we left off at 7 o'clock. So, Dr. Carat?
Thank you, President Murphy. Thank you, Board. Thank you, everyone. As we continue to celebrate, so we just recognize Sterling Middle School and their staff, and then Richwoods. Good job, guys. Attendance. We've done this before, and I've kind of not been doing it. So I'm like, hey, I want to recognize the schools that are really improving with attendance, because that is very, very important. We have to have our kids here first before we can do anything with them. So this is to recognize the top 3 schools, actually 4, because third place, there's a tie. They have improved their attendance from last year, August of 2022 to August of 2023. And some of the things that I've noticed that they've really, really done with intentionality is some of the things are they have had really focused and intentional Because We Care campaign. So they're going out to families during the summer while we're out. And then also what they've done is they've actually targeted students and families with chronic absenteeism. So that's pretty cool as well. And then what they do is, and all of our schools do that also, they're putting in early interventions like Check and Connect with those students when they come back. And I've done some walks, because we care walks with them as well. We'll go to the families. The kids will be happy to see their teachers and their principal, and we'll say, hey, are you ready to come back? And once they get back, they'll set some Check and Connect and connect them with a caring adult. So that has worked very, very well as it relates to building relationships. So every kid has a caring adult in the building. So principals, we wanted to just let you know that we've noticed your efforts. It is really, truly making a difference. We monitor those numbers like discipline with Sterling. We also monitor attendance and a lot of other data that we monitor on a monthly basis. So I wanted to call up all 3 and just to recognize them. So we have a tie, as I said, for third place. Dr. C.T. Vivian's primary school and Hines, they tied for first place. The percentage from last August to this August is 1.4%. So if we have any reps from Dr. C.T. Vivian and Hines, please come up. Oh.
My name is Jennifer Reeder. I'm a teacher at Dr. C.T. Vivian Primary School. This is my first year on the attendance committee, but we're working really hard to target those students that are needing supports. We're writing a grant for Donuts with Grown-Ups, so we're hoping that we can get kind of some community members and those important mentors of our students' families to join us and give us some ideas on how we can, get those students to school every day. So we'll continue to increase that attendance. We'll be back.
Right. So, Jen, here, actually, because you came, there's a little gift for you. And also you get 2.
Okay,
and you
got
can
it.
share it with your team.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Of course. One of the things I forgot to say, let's give Jen a minute. Every building actually has an attendance plan, so those are some components of their plans. So the second school is Von Steuben. They have increased from last August to this August 2%. So Von Steuben, Ms. Nevitt, come on up. Congratulations. Are you excited? Is there something you're going to make a few remarks?
Yes. I'd like to say thank you to the board and Dr. Karat for recognizing us. And one thing that I've always done since I was in the classroom was relationships. And I even made a call tonight before I came here. I like to reach out to the parents and make a positive phone call about attendance and about discipline. I make 2 a night. So I reach out and just make a positive phone call and welcome the kids. And I also go to that kid that has been missing, but on that day that he comes, make a positive contact myself with that student and reach out and see how they're doing it. And it is made leap. We're just doing it with the community. So I'm very, very proud of the teachers and my attendance team, but most of all the kids. So thank you so much.
That's awesome. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nevitt. And then you can see the first place will receive this banner. They'll have bragging rights and most improved attendance for August. It's a coveted banner. So I'll just say leadership matters, attendance matters. So principals, those of you who are watching, keep doing what you're doing. Your name on your building will rise up pretty soon. But Franklin Franklin Primary School has the highest attendance. You guys won. First place. Come on down. So principal is here, Principal Maston is here, and assistant principal. Congrats. Their attendance, the rate was 2.7%.
That's awesome.
And we have a little token of appreciation for you, so you can introduce. Hey.
We'll be quick. Thank you, everyone, for the recognition. So, not to repeat what Ms. Nevitt said, but relationships are really where we start. Our attendance team has been working really hard to target and build relationships with those families of students who have not been attending. We need our families to know that we care for their child when they're with us, and when we can provide that comfort for them, we know that they're more willing to send them every day. So I'm going to pass it off to Ms. Ross, who is leading our attendance team this year.
Yes, our relationships are key. Definitely, our teachers are required, encouraged to reach out to families who, the students miss more than like 2 consecutive days. So they reach out to the parents and give them a parent contact. We have our attendance team who, when we did our Because We Care walks, we targeted those particular families from last year that had, the students had low attendance. And then we also did personal phone calls to each family that we did not reach. So we could just say, okay, how can we support you this year with getting your student to school? Getting your student to school, and if also congratulated them if their student was had a good attendance rate this year already, and said, "We thank you so much." I mean, we do drawings. We do parent drawings. We do student drawings. We do out of uniform passes. We pretty much do anything to get our students on board, our families on board with getting the kids to school. I mean, the relationship is really key because they need to know that we miss their child when they're not there. Okay, and we want them to be at school. We know it's important, and all parents want their students to be to excel and learn, and so they have to be at school for that to happen. So.
Hang on, you got to get your picture. And while they're getting their picture, I just want to say thank you to all of the schools that are here tonight, for the winners of the schools for this. This is a big deal when we look at attendance in the district, and it really does help and start with that communication with the families that you guys are offering to those. And so thank you guys for the hard work that you're doing on this committee and what you guys do every day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have 1 minute, I believe. Is that right? 1 minute and minute and a half until the 7 o'clock budget hearing goes. So I will take that minute to go ahead and read the presentation by audience, which will be our next part, what the guidelines are for this. So Board Policy 2:230, an individual may address the board at this time for no more than 5 minutes with further time allotted as appropriate at the discretion of the chair with the concurrence of the majority of the board. Total time on any one subject shall not exceed 20 minutes, only at the written discretion of the chair and the concurrence of the majority of the board. Each speaker will fill out a request to speak to the Board of Education card and present it to the board secretary before the meeting begins. So as we still have a little bit of time, I just wanted to go over that. I see that we have a lot of people here to speak on the same kind of topic that we have. So what we are going to do in this situation is that if you get up to speak on one topic and you happen to have time left over from your 5 minutes, we will roll that over to continue down the line. We will start with an order that they were turned in or that they were at least given to me from there. And then if we don't get to your name and that was on a topic that you want to, please email the Board of Education, myself, and we will make sure that we review those as well, okay? But at this time, before we begin with the audience participation or presentation, we're going to have our budget hearing. Mr. Willis?
State law requires, before we adopt a budget, that we have a public hearing the night of the budget resolution and its presentation to the board. To hear comments from the public relative to revenue estimates, expenditure estimates, fund balance estimates, et cetera. At this time, we will entertain anybody who is wishing to speak on the budget, and that the speaking period holds the same as public comment, 5 minutes, et cetera.
So just to kind of further that, I think a lot of people are here to speak on a specific budget item. So if you feel like you're probably not going to get called up there during that part, you can get called up. You could take this time to come up to the podium at this time. Oh, yeah. Good.
Name is Charlie Thomas. Haven't been here in a while. I know everybody here probably missed me. On the budget, these are things that Terry Knapp and I have beat to death. All I want at this point, because I guess some of these are not going to go away. I just think they hurt us in the overall budget. But every time I bring something up, they said, well, this grant covers that or this. It's too confusing unless you're sitting where you are, where you have access to all the information. So once again, Quest, I don't understand it. I'm not going to say at the beginning of the process it wasn't a pretty good idea, maybe a charter school like Quest, but it's just not working out. I mean, talk to your people, talk to your teachers, talk to anyone, parents that have kids in Quest. The numbers are very low. Quest tried to start up a football team, and I give them kudos for that. But they had to go to the 7-on-7 route. And unfortunately, I think either a game or two into their season, they had to forfeit because things that happen to everybody, somebody gets sick or someone gets hurt, they couldn't do it. So I don't understand. And if you know football, a helmet alone, and a good helmet, $250, $300. So I mean, I don't know where all that money comes from. Maybe it doesn't come from 150. All I care about is 150 being the best district in Illinois, and that's all I care about. Game changers. We gave them a hunk of money. I still to this day will never be convinced that the program we had at Woodruff, before it closed down, we had a great alternative school there. It was fantastic. It was taught by teachers that were certified in each subject. They had all the subjects. They walked the halls. They ate lunch. They did everything a normal school did, and these kids were not losing out on that aspect where at Game Changers, you go there, you sit in front of a computer for 6 hours. I just don't see how we don't want those kids that got expelled or in trouble for a lot of different reasons. They lose out how to function in a school setting. So when these teachers get it back, at least the ones I talk to, they don't see big changes. They see, well, they got the same behavior. Sometimes worse because once again, now they got to go back and stand in a line. They got to raise their hand for answer a question. So I'm not sure how good that's doing. Once again, if someone tells me this doesn't affect our budget at all, well, I don't think that's true, but it's just things we could do better with our own staff. We have such a great staff in this city. There's been some great additions to Dr. Karat's staff, which I'll mention in the next session. But sounds like good things are going on. But let's don't waste our money in areas that aren't going to help us. And then finally, elite. Anybody that knows me knows how I feel about elite. We have elite at 2 schools, as far as I know, unless something's changed again. I ain't been here in a while. 2 schools. That doesn't even make sense to me. If elite's that good, why aren't they at all the schools that need help? It's because usually the principal can make that final call or the teachers can vote. Well, that kind of tells you no one else wants it. So why is it at Glen Oak and Lincoln? I don't get it. Once again, we're paying for that, whatever the money is through a grant. I've never understood the grants, and then maybe that's my fault. I haven't investigated that more, but when I hear, well, no, that's not paid by taxpayers' money, that's paid by a grant. Well, somewhere along the line, there's got to be a way to use that grant in a different way. That's all I'm saying. That's all I have to say. I didn't want to be too negative about it, but it does get old when some of these price tags, if you don't know the price tags, please look them up. And by the way, just for information for some of you, I think there's a person at Quest that makes north of $250,000 a year. I think. Now, I'm not going to say that 100% because I'm not 100%. But if that's the case, Dr. Karat should make $1 million a year because she's got a lot more responsibilities than anyone at Quest. Thank you.
Okay. Did we have anybody else who wanted to speak? Seeing none. Mr. Willis?
The budget hearing's officially closed.
Thank you. All right, we will go ahead and begin with a presentation by audience members. First person up, we have Carolyn Faulkner.
Hello, my name is Carolyn Faulkner. I'm a recently retired teacher in District 150, and I have one question. I would like to know, what is the purpose of social promotion? I have taught in primary most of my years. Now I'm seeing, and for years I've seen students going to the next grade and they can't even read. I have a fifth grader that asked me to show him how to read the other day because he doesn't even know his letter sounds, but he was promoted from fourth grade to fifth grade. Seems like that could be the cause of all these things that are traumas or tragedies happening in Peoria, Illinois with our young children, and some of our lower economic school neighborhoods, lower income neighborhoods, and kids are pulling at me, their parents are pulling at me, will you tutor my child, will you do this? And their kids can't read. Kids in third grade, pre-K, kindergarten level. I just would like to know, what is the purpose of social promotion and how will it be addressed? Will it be going on forever, or will we stop it and hold some of those kids back that need that repetition, that need some more practice in those readings in that grade that they're not doing good in at all?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let you know when we're at the beginning of that topic. I'll let you know. Next up, we have Joyce, looks like Blumenshine.
Thank you very much to the board. Joyce Blumenshine in Peoria. Quick comment, I'm with a Central Illinois Healthy Community Alliance. This is not a direct concern right now for the board, but I just want to call your awareness to the issue of high-pressure carbon dioxide pipeline that at one time was on a map coming into the south side, 61605 zip code. That is no longer on the current mapping for the company coming through Peoria County. But by the end of this year, a company in Peoria might decide that. The reason I bring it to you tonight, just as an awareness issue, is that these pipelines are a health and safety risk. High pressure CO2, if it would rupture the line or explode, it means there's a cloud of carbon dioxide that can travel. And that means no air, no oxygen to breathe if it travels. And there are schools in the 61605, so I want your awareness at this point in time only. We hope that will never happen in Peoria here, but we have many concerned citizens on that issue. Thank you so much.
Up next, we have Rob Renaud.
Good evening. My name is Rob Renaud. I am a Peoria County board member whose district encompasses Richwoods High School. I'm also a Richwoods parent. I have 16-year-old twins who are juniors. I serve on the PTO, and I also am the the treasurer of PPS Music Boosters, which supports all of the arts at Richwoods. In that capacity, I am here tonight to tell you a little bit about the Richwoods Marching Program, which I know the board has invested some money into the last year or so. My son started the marching program when he was a freshman, just coming out of COVID. So we had a program that had sophomores who had never marched before. They had freshmen who had never marched before. And if the distribution was proportional to the number of years, it would have been 50% were brand new, but it was disproportionate. We had a lot more first-year students who had never marched before. So we went to our first competition, and it was cringy. It was tough to watch. Since then, they've put in a lot of effort and work. The second year, last year, my son was in the program. They went to Pontiac to a competition, and they called all excited. They didn't get last place. Super excited about that. So then after last year, something huge happened. And part of it was investment that you made into the program and just kids that were ready to do something more. And we have 2 music instructors who are really putting a lot of effort into the program. They're trying to grow the program, which they have. Our color guard in the last year went from 4 to, I think they're at 9 this year. And we got new uniforms over the summer. We got a sound system, which has made a huge difference into our program. Our boosters have fundraised. We were able to actually buy a show this year for halftime, where typically we just kind of relied on somebody to help us through that. And we have new instruments. The athletics department invested in a new drum major podium, which is safe now. It's not rickety. It has a guardrail, so we know that our drum major won't fall off and get hurt. So all of this has come to a really tremendous show that we have this year. We perform at football games. We've been to 2 competitions. The first competition we got 2nd place in, and the second competition we got 3rd place in, which is fantastic. Our kids are ecstatic. Mr. Render just took a handful of students and they marched with the U of I band over the weekend, which was fantastic, a great opportunity for them to see that level of performance. And speaking of seeing this level of performance, typically you have to come to a football game or you have to come to one of our competitions to see it. But this year we've decided to have a Friends and Family Showcase, which is going to be October 18th. It is during fall break, but it'll be at 6 o'clock at the stadium, and it'll be an opportunity to see it for free. It's you don't have to pay to go into a football game. You don't have to pay to go to a competition. It'll just be a half-hour presentation of our show, and you can actually see the benefits of what you invested in. So thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Charlie Thomas.
All right, back at it. First of all, like I said, I haven't been here in a while, so I'd like to give a shout out to all the in-building staff, from everyone to everyone. They're working hard, trying to get the kids on track, and to what I've heard, it sounds like it's going pretty well at most places and really good at some places. So some individual shout outs. Principal Clemens at Glen Oak, I've been hearing nothing but great things about her. She is killing it there, just taking a hold and saying, hey, I'm the one in charge, and the kids are responding, and most kids will, as we know that, if they have that firm discipline, and she is really doing it. The teachers are behind her, and that's a great thing. Shout out to Richwoods High School that was up here earlier. That's one of the last places I taught at. Great staff out there. I still have friends, still go out and have lunch with a couple, try to get out there a couple Fridays a month. Great school, and I'm excited to see they're doing well. Miss Brooks, is there a Miss Brooks? I've heard nothing but great things about that young lady. I mean, everybody I've talked to says you are outstanding, and I didn't even know you were hired, so it sounds like a fantastic hire. Dr. Crowd has a way of hiring some good people. What else? This is all good stuff this time, so you don't have to worry about me being mean to anybody. Shout out to District 150 basketball. Boy, am I excited. I am so excited. Richwoods is going to be a handful this year. We got to get Metamora across the river. There's, over there Spouting, which Danny Greaves I just absolutely love over there. But, of course, Central football kills it every year, and they're doing it again. Somebody said, well, they got 2 losses. Well, look and see who they got beat by. Some pretty solid teams that I don't even think are in their same division. The stadium looks outstanding. What a great job that. I mean, it's just, and I'm one that remembers before and way back when you would run track and there'd be potholes. You might know what steeplechase is. That we had a built-in steeplechase on that track. It had so many holes you had to jump over. But that stadium is outstanding. And then I heard the food's better this year in the cafeteria. That's a positive thing because, I never was much for cafeteria food, but the kids seem to be responding. Couple things. I think I heard you, Dr. Crock, giving out those awards. I love that when those awards are given out to schools. You know what I'd like to see? A monthly principal of the year. A monthly principal of the month and a teacher of the month. Wouldn't that be fun? A Starbucks card. They go nuts for that Starbucks card. You guys know, don't you?
That's what I gave out tonight.
Starbucks card? Oh, my wife would eat those alive, and my daughter even worse. But I think that'd be a great thing, especially we have so many young teachers and overseas teachers. we need to encourage and not discourage those young people. It's hard. I mean, when they're in, the kids just don't. And unfortunately, sometimes when the overseas teachers have a little bit of a dialect and they don't pronounce and it's even harder. So I just think that'd be kind of fun. Teacher of the month, principal of the month. Heck, you even do security. I mean, you do everybody of the month, but then we start going crazy. So somebody be calling me to chip in on the money. Don't do that, Dr. Kara. And finally, like I said, this is all good stuff. Please, as we go forward, we have a great group of teachers in this district. Rely on them a little bit more when you're making some big decisions about kids. They know better than anyone what that student goes through every day. And they probably know better than anyone what kind of home life they have. And if the parents are trying to help or they're not really involved, get them involved. Those teachers know so much, and I just feel we don't take it out from them enough. And I'm talking about every program that comes around. Talk to teachers more. They will give you input. As you know, there's not a teacher alive that doesn't mind talking. They all like to talk. So please encourage them more with that kind of stuff. And at some point, this district is going to be so much better than anybody else. I just got that feeling. I hope I'm around for all that, and I think I will be. A lot of positive. Like I said, look at all these good things. Good hires. We got principals really kicking some butt, and I feel very comfortable saying that because sometimes that's what you got to do. Kick a little butt. Kids mess up. Let them know they messed up. Love them tomorrow. Not today. Punish appropriately, and then love them again tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, up next we have Stephanie Griffin.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Griffin. I've been the band director at least Fort Allen Academy since 2014. I am the second longest standing middle school director at Peoria Public Schools and the longest standing middle school director in the Peoria and Manual feeder school area. At least 1/3 of both Manual and Peoria High band students I taught at EFA, formerly known as Roosevelt Magnet. I believe this makes me an expert of building and maintaining middle school band programs, especially in a school with a high student mobility. First, I'd like to thank you for new instruments. They were needed and they're put to good use. I'd also like to give thanks for the repairs. Learning on a mostly working instrument is not ideal and it's very frustrating to students. Lastly, I'd like to thank the administration for working middle school visits into the high school band director's schedules. It's really nice to have experts on other instruments than my own work with my students. When we have a saxophone student, for instance, learning from somebody who is an expert on saxophone, we truly are giving our students the best instrumental education possible, so thank you for that. I'm here today to give insight on what exactly is happening at EFA and other schools. My job description this year, and I say this year because there's zero consistency from year to year, is band and orchestra director. There is zero orchestra happening currently because we do not have enough encore staff to cover preps and PLCs. So instead, I'm covering 4th through 8th grade homeroom general music classes. These classes meet 1 day a week, which doesn't allow me to teach any sort of actual musical skills. Can anyone really learn a new skill dedicated 4 to 5 minutes a week, especially if you're not interested in it? I ask myself, how did we get to this point? And these are my observations. In 2014, when I started, I had band 5 days a week, 2 periods for each class with the 7th, 8th combined. 1 period was band, 1 was percussion. We also had choir, art, orchestra, drama, junior high dance, primary music, and Paxton. The next year was the same, but we went to a 3-2 split with classes. In 2017 through 2020, we kept the 3-2 model, which allowed me to have beginning band classes at every grade level, 5th through 8th. This was vital in a school with high student mobility. This was when my 7th and 8th grade band program, the ones that march, and thank you for the new uniforms, were over 50 students. To put this in perspective, I usually started 30 to 50 students in 5th grade, split into 4 classes. By the time they got to 8th grade, I would have 10 of those original students. So these beginning band classes at each grade level was vital to that 50 student band in 7th and 8th grade. In 2018, 17 or 18, I'm not for sure, we lost junior high dance, then followed primary dance, and then finally orchestra. We're gonna fast forward to 2021. We went to 1 day a week classes for all encores. I held out hope because we were still in the pandemic. Last year, our name changed, and so did the hope that we would ever go back to a robust fine arts program. I was split between EFA and Treewin, where I was told to store the school's instruments in my car when asked where to put the brand new instruments we just received. There was no dedicated schedule for the orchestra or band teachers. I finally did get a 6th grade class. I asked the administration, where can I pull students from? Because all their encore classes were in the afternoon. I was scheduled in the morning. I was told to ask teachers if I could borrow students, AKA during math, reading, social studies. So back to EFA. Last year, we lost choir, drama, and primary music was cut to half-time, which was the final nail in the student choice coffin. Band is back to 3 a day a week schedule, but like I said, the other half is homeroom rotation. Up to this point, students got to choose between art, drama, band, choir, and graphic design. Now students have 0 choice outside of band. This is not a robust fine arts program. Quickly, I'd like to share, my 7th graders often tell me that band is their favorite class. I asked why. They said because everyone wants to be here. You can't force children to be band students. It only leads to broken instruments and burnt out teachers. To grow a high school program, you need passionate middle school teachers to foster love of music into their students. Burnt out teachers do nothing but survive day to day. This is just a small look of what's been happening at the former fine arts school. Now imagine what's happening everywhere else. Thank you for your time.
Up next, we have Kristen Meyercord.
Good evening, everyone. I did not come here with a prepared speech. I didn't even come here to speak. I decided to write down a card at the last minute. I want to thank all the arts teachers, fine arts teachers. They're doing an incredible job, and having to go, a lot of them, from school to school, during the week, one side of town to the other, like my daughter's teacher does. I just find it a little bit unfair. I think the money should have gone into our fine arts program. Fine arts are a way of therapy. These kids need therapy. We all know this. It's a way to release trauma or even expand on their creativity. There's so many good things that can come out of arts, and I just don't understand why this is something that was not funded. I know it was a unanimous vote for the splash pad. I won't even get into that, but it's not something that can be utilized year-round. I know I was told, but there's musical instruments on it. Well, yeah, but it's right across the street from a liquor store, and I work down there 3 times a week. I know that corner very well. I would not have my daughter going down there. And I feel badly for the kids down there that they're being put in a dangerous position where it is. It should have been pushed further back in the park, if anything. But that's besides the point. I just want to thank all of our art teachers because they really do their most. And it's just, again, it's just really unfair. And I think it's very unfortunate that the money was spent this way. And again, art can really change lives. So it can save a lot. And we need that right now. Thank you.
Okay. Up next, and I apologize if I get the name incorrect, it's either Sherry or Shelley with CH. I apologize.
Rock, try that one.
I didn't even try the last part. I just was like going for the first part. I figured you'd probably know who I was talking about. So
One of those names I couldn't give back.
Can you tell me what your
horribly German. Yes. I am Sherry Sommeroth. I am the art teacher for the junior high at Elise Fort Allen Academy. We used to be Roosevelt Magnet. I have been teaching for 29 years, and the last 10 of them have been within our district. I got 2 points I want to talk about tonight really quickly. In last year's board meeting, my school came out to talk about the reason our name was being changed. Roosevelt Magnet, with an arts focus, was the identity of our students. They were proud to be from Roosevelt. They were proud that they were the art school. And my principal and the art staff spent hours preparing a new 5-year revitalization plan for our programs. And instead, as we came to the board meeting, the response was, well, we've seen a decline in interest in the arts. No one thought to mention that our students had just spent 2 years without a chance to have any arts. They were in the pandemic. We couldn't send work home. They couldn't play an instrument at home. They couldn't sing at home because we did not have physical contact with our students. So what little we could do, we did. But when we came back to school and we had our ABE days, we were still online. So we spent a second portion of a year still online with students that were in the building. We still didn't get to see our students. They were supposed to be doing arts at home on their off-campus day. So it really wasn't a decline in interest, it was a decline of time. We lost time with our kids. And when that happened, we just had more canceled. Our art staff was split between other schools. We had staff that were split 50-50 with other places. This year, we lost our choir and our primary music, who is now split between places. And we do not even have enough music for all the K-4 students. We have no equity in our schedule. It's no equity within our program. That's just talking about music. So my second point is the budget. So for visual arts, it's a 90% consumable program. You keep scissors year to year, you keep rulers year to year. That's about it. Everything else is consumed, paper, the whole bit. So this year, my school got $1,524. Only 670 of that, or 87 of that, was allotted for supplies. Well, let's just assume we're going to split that evenly, the whole $1,500. That means my program gets $304. Okay. That comes to 84 cents for every K-4 student, and it comes to $1.17 for my junior high students. So I went down, sat down with the budget, said, okay, what do we need? In simple ordering of 3 reams of paper, a classroom set of pencils, a classroom set of markers, a classroom set of oil pastels, Sharpies, just enough for 30 kids, was $1,000. And that's not even buying the expensive stuff. That was buying the cheap stuff. $1,000 a year. Well, some of those things can be used from year to year. Watercolors, you can probably get 2 years out of those. Oil pastels, maybe. But crayons, colored pencils, erasers, glue, drawing paper, construction paper, markers, they cannot be used year to year because they're gone, especially when you're dealing with young ones. So this is just a K-4 budget. I'm not even talking about junior high students who need better materials because they're doing more complex things. The district wants robust programs without financially supporting them properly. Every year, the visual art teacher asks for help. We want help. We can't spend our own money anymore. It's getting too much. Thanks for listening.
All right. Up next, I've got, is it Dennis Hansen? Denise. Okay, the only reason I said that the Mr. was checked on here, and that's why I was like, okay, maybe it's Dennis. Sorry.
Denise Hansen. I am currently the audio video production, graphic design, and drawing 2 student teacher at Peoria High, formerly K-8 technology at Elise Fort Allen, and before that, graphic design, and way before that, dance at Elise Fort Allen. I say that to tell you, our encore teachers really embody the 7 mindset focus of passion first. Unfortunately, a lot of us are not allowed to teach what we're passionate about. Or you're asked to choose between teaching what you're passionate about, staying with the students you're with, or getting moved. We've had a lot of technology teachers this year that are not technology teachers. They are primarily a PE teacher, primarily an art teacher, primarily trained in something else completely, like we're coming out of a homeroom, and that's not their passion. They're filling a human resource hole, but they're not teaching what they're passionate about. And the teachers who are passionate about it were forced to make the decision, do I want to stay at my school with my kids and move out of my area of passion, or do I want to split schools and move schools so I can keep teaching what I'm passionate about? It feels like sometimes the scheduling is plugging human resource holes instead of putting teachers where they're passionate and where they're certified. So I don't think it's the lack of certified teachers. It's not a lack of having teachers who are trained, certified, and passionate about their arts. We're having to move those teachers who fill a hole to cover a homeroom or cover an art that's not being covered. So I just want to really encourage the board to please put your encore teachers first. The union has a great plan set out that every primary school should have a music and art teacher full-time. It's not just about our subjects that we're teaching, but it's about the relationship we develop with our kids. And if you move us from school to school, it's really hard for us to continue those relationships. Thanks.
Susan Pfeiffer.
Good evening. My name is Susan Pfeiffer. I'm speaking tonight as a proud PFT member, a concerned District 150 parent, and a confused District 150 art teacher. I'm confused because I feel district admin is not being transparent to the school board and the media. We keep hearing how the fine arts are being promoted and funded. New items such as furniture and supplies are being given to all fine arts teachers. Perhaps this is true for some schools and for some areas of the fine arts, but I can speak on my personal experience as the elementary arts teacher for Lincoln K-8. The district boasts that schools are fully staffed in fine arts. Sorta, kinda. The Lincoln Junior High arts teacher is split between two buildings. This has caused scheduling conflicts, leading to an extra grade level being added to my roster. I now teach kindergarten through 5th grade, a total of 447 students. I see some of those classes once a week, some of them twice a week. In all, I teach 653 students per week. The district has also stated that the fine arts budget is robust. I can tell you that the supply budget I have is anything but. Bear with me as I break down the numbers for you. We were given a supply budget for the year of $777. Sounds lucky. We were also given $926 for instrument repairs, and that doesn't necessarily apply to me. The $777 given for consumable supplies is split between myself, the junior high art teacher, the elementary school music teacher, and the junior high music teacher. This comes out to $194.24. 30 cents per student for the entire year, or 7 cents per student per quarter. 7 cents per student per quarter. Mind you, almost everything in the art room is considered consumable. Pencils, erasers, scissors, construction paper, cardstock, glue, dry erase markers, paint, brushes, crayons, drawing paper, watercolors, oil pastels, clay, and glaze. Just to name the basics. So, 30 cents per student for the entire year does not even come close to covering those basics. Our teachers are left to either buy those supplies for their classes, do without the basic needs, or ask friends and family to fund their art classrooms through Amazon wish lists and GoFundMe campaigns. So in closing, I'd like to suggest alternate words for robust, because my supply budget is not robust. I would call the visual arts budget small, ineffective, weak, and quite honestly embarrassing for our district. Thank you for your time.
Up next, we have Natasha Zinda.
I'm tracking it.
First of all, hi. I am a new Peoria parent. My kids, I have 3 kids. 2 of them go to Whittier, which is a fantastic elementary school. 1 of them goes to Central, which leaves a little bit to desire, but we'll get on that later. I came today so that I could talk to you about how the fine arts really makes well-rounded individuals that are productive and active in our society. The arts are essential to a well-rounded education. They help children develop their creativity, critical thinking skills, and problem-solving abilities. They also teach children how to collaborate and communicate effectively. And we all know everybody could use a little better communication in our lives. But more than that, the arts can help level the playing field for all children, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status. Equity is extremely important in this world. It is even more important for our children in Peoria who come from a district that is rife with poverty. Here are some of the statistics I'd like to bring to you that demonstrate the benefits of funding fine arts programs, ones that would claim to be robust. Students who participate in the arts are more likely to graduate from high school and go on to college. Students who participate in the arts have higher academic test scores in all subjects, not just the arts. These are things that we just saw from Richwood, which has a lot of funding for the arts, but not the schools that my kids go to. Students who participate in the arts are more likely to be civically engaged, like I am right now, like you are as well. They are more likely to have stronger social and emotional skills, something we see a lack of. Students who participate in the arts are more likely to be employed in high-paying jobs as they get older as well, which pours back into our community. We have a fundamental obligation to make these children productive, engaged members of our society. We have a crime problem in Peoria where it's rampant. I moved from a small town in Mississippi over a year ago. I transplanted here, and I made sure that I could find a place where my gifts would be useful. Engaging in some local nonprofits and making myself be of service, because I believe that you should bloom wherever you are planted. How can our children bloom when they have no light from the fine arts? They can't. How can our teachers continue to till the ground, the soil that's our kids, if they don't have anything to do it with? We're not providing them with the stuff that they need. We're not providing them with the support that they need. These are things that I implore you to please take more seriously and give more funding to, and distribute that funding equitably. I do think that funding hasn't been equitably distributed in our district. I do think that when we see people getting awards at schools that have new buildings, schools that have air conditioning, when some of our kids sit in schools that didn't even have that during a heat wave, I think that there's a lot going on in this school district, and I think that there's a lot as parents we have to be more involved in and do on our part, and I would love to see us bridge that gap even more. But in order for you guys to start doing what you need to do, I think one of the biggest things you need to do is listen to the teachers. Second thing is help engage the parents in this district. I have never been a part of a district where I've seen such low turnout and low engagement from parents. That is a hard thing to do. Probably needs as good as PR as you guys are using for your robust fine arts system. As somebody who works in PR, I could help you with that. But what I think you really need to do here is listen to what I am telling you. Social equity is important for our children. It is the only currency that should matter to us in a civilized society. And I do not thank you for your time, but I will really thoroughly thank you for your action.
Okay, and with that as the last speaker on the Fine Arts program, we have hit the time limit allotted for the 20 minutes on any one topic and discussion. So that being said, do what? So that being said, I do strongly want to encourage you who did not get a chance to speak at this meeting, you are more than welcome to come in for a card, fill out at the next board meeting, but also reach out to the board members. Obviously, this is something that we need to look into and address. And we will do some more digging into this, but you are more than welcome to reach out to your board members, and we can continue a discussion on this. Pass these on.
Can we keep the ones that didn't speak separate?
Yeah, that's what I was going to have her do. Keep those separate, yeah. We'll reach out. All right, and I do want to thank everybody for coming in this evening and taking the time to come in here and present tonight. At this time, we'll go ahead and ask for a response to audience presentation.
Thank you, President Murphy. I guess I would say first point is, number one, wanting to thank everyone who came out to provide some insight on their experiences in their buildings. Number two, I heard a theme about the splash pad, and we've had this discussion before. The splash pad has not taken any dollars away from buildings as it relates to arts, so that's an important point that I wanted to clarify. I heard things about art budgets and scheduling and some schools, equity. I heard equity a lot, that there was a common theme, which is how we operate. And equity really means giving more to those most in need. So I heard some comments about, for example, Richwoods, and I don't really want to get into the weeds, but Richwoods getting more, and that's not true. But what I'll say is, we have some amazing, passionate teachers who came out, and there were a number of individuals from Elise Fort Allen, which I was surprised about. I was just kind of caught off guard with the art comments today. So I checked in with the principal, Ms. Rogers. I said, hey, Ms. Rogers, a number of your teachers are here. Have you guys had a conversation about this? And she's like, I have no clue. We just had a union meeting. There were no issues. So I would recommend the teachers working with the principal and starting there. We all agree that the fine arts are extremely important for our students to strengthen their creativity, self-expression, critical thinking, and so much more. And I personally have set a personal goal for myself to restore the fine arts in Peoria Public Schools. And those who've been there, when I came on, just district-wide, it was really lethargic and needed a special boost. And the board has supported and injected over $5 million into the arts, into the last couple of years, which I'm very, very proud of. So yes, fine arts also includes, and you got a theme for it, in not only instrumental like band and orchestra, performing arts like theater, choir, and dance, and visual arts like graphic design, drawing, and painting. And so I remember I was a high school principal, I was a primary principal, I was actually an assistant principal. That's where I first started at Elise Fort Allen. And we always had budgets. Principals were given an allocation, which I used to give that allocation to my fine arts teachers. And what I used to do is we would work together if they needed more supplies like paper and whatever else they needed. We would say, okay, once that fund is depleted, we've gotten $200 also, everybody gets $200. Once that's depleted, there's opportunities for classroom grants, the different things. We did that as well. And so we just work collaboratively together. And I think working with the principal and working with the executive director, like Ms. Brooks, we were always brainstorming what else can we do for our teachers. We get quite a bit of things donated from the community, and we send it right back to the school. So, we're willing to work collaboratively with teachers if they're needing additional supplies for painting and drawing and design and those sorts of things. You heard about, I know Elise Fort Allen also, I didn't hear it, but they did get new uniforms as well. So really wanted to mention that as it relates to that conversation. And I guess what I would say is, in closing, regarding the arts, is really work with your principal, work with your executive directors, and then that's where we usually have conversations, and actually not usually, we have weekly conversations in terms of how we can continue to improve. I feel good about what we've done, what we've accomplished. As I said, there's always room for improvement, and that's what we're about. So that's that. And then there was a comment about the retention, and I feel, I have a long written, I made some comments, but I won't read it because it's very, very long. But I think standards-based grading, Ms. Faulkner, will help with that. And you retired last year. We brought you back as a tutor to really assist with that. And so it's based on standards and skills and get into the underlying reason as to why kids are having problems and working with them. So this is our first year for K4 to implement the standards-based grading. We know all the research. We've hashed it out over and over again. I think we're becoming more proficient in teaching children how to read. During convocation, for example, I focused on using scientifically based evidence around teaching reading, phonemic awareness, phonics, and those sorts of things, continuing to encourage children to read 30 minutes a day. And actually, I've gotten some additional funds on Friday where we're going to sort of go gangbusters in that and bringing in more tutors and providing more support. So that will be unveiled probably next week around providing more reading supports. But I think the big takeaway is the standards-based, focusing on standards and it's more focused, it's more skilled, it's more competency-based. I think that will help us overall as an organization and as a system to do our work better. And I'm feeling really, really good about that. I think we're off to a good start. And many, many schools have several tutors already who've been trained. Amanda is doing the training with whether it's LLI or University of Florida's training. So that's a piece that we definitely getting more of our kids. I would love to see, and I believe 100% of our children can read by first grade, but we just have to be more proficient at how to do it and to do it well as a system. So we could talk some more as well, and I can give you my response that I wrote down. I don't want to bore everybody with it, but it's good seeing you, and thank you for coming back out of retirement to work with the children. I've seen you in the buildings since then, and you're doing a nice job, so thank you. And thanks to our teachers as well. They're doing a nice job. Work with your principals, please, and they'll work with their executive directors, and we'll see. Also, I heard another thing, which was everything they're talking about, I'm used to it as a principal. The budget was meager, I agree, and I think it's even more now. Splitting, a lot of our teachers have, they don't just have one school, and I apologize for that, but that's how the scheduling works out. But continue to work with your principals. You do have principals who listen, and executive directors, and I can guarantee you we problem solve every week, and we're always trying to figure out ways to improve. That's why we invested so much money, convinced the board to invest, $5 million. That's a ton of money. And I would say that's never happened in a long time. So keep doing what you're doing and communicate with your principals who will communicate with executive directors, and it'll eventually trickle up to me. So thank you, and we'll continue to problem solve. I know that was long, but I apologize for that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for that. And again, I encourage all of you to reach out to the board members and discuss this further if there's anything when they didn't get a chance to speak tonight. Okay. At this time, I need a motion to approve the minutes from August 28th, 2023.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you take the roll?
Mrs. Costick. Mr. Claus.
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell.
Aye.
Dr. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
President Murphy.
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on now to information items. Number 1, superintendent update.
I think this was really good, what I just said. The only thing I'll just mention is my team and I, we have been to the schools, every school at least once, right? Probably twice. Every week we're in 1 or 2 buildings, we're in classrooms. Teachers are seeing me, everybody, they're seeing me. They're seeing Dr. Hassan, they're seeing Ms. Brooks, they're seeing Ms. Molson, Dr. Molson, they're seeing Ms. Rose, they're seeing Dr. Bond. We go as a team. We call it school building success visits. And we're just thought partners. What do you need? They may say we need more tutors. Well, and no one has said anything about arts to me. And I'm telling you, I have been in all of PPS's buildings at least twice, and not counting the first day of school when I go to all the buildings. And I stay there a good amount of time, where we're in 4 or 5 classrooms, then we debrief with principals. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
I think it's good that they came tonight to bring those things, and now it has been brought to our attention, and so we can look into that moving forward. Number 2, the financial update. Budgeted, encumbered, expended, balanced, and percentage balance.
The expenditures through September, through this evening, totaled $48.4 million. This time, 2 weeks ago, expenditures totaled $38.2 million. There's a $10 million difference on the spending side first, which was salaries, benefits, and capital outlay. On the revenue side, and I saved the best for last, we did get another injection of local tax monies. So our receipts went from $30.9 million on September 11th to $59.4 million. And again, that was mainly local tax receipts with evidence-based funding dollars coming in at another $3 million over the last 2 weeks as well. That's a Cliff Notes version of our year-to-date receipts and expenditures, and be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
No, I don't have anything. Does anyone else? Okay. Moving on to number 3, proposed expenditures over $2,500. Questions? All right, number 4, report of requests under the Freedom of Information Act and status of such requests.
Thank you, President Murphy. Since our board meeting report on September 11th, we have received 2 new requests, and there were also 3 pending requests noted on September 11th. Of those, 0 requests remains open. There are 0 requests currently opened. So to date, we have received 90 requests for this calendar year at a total cost of $4,500. Thank you, President Murphy.
Thank you. Number 5, salary compensation report. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. At your places this evening, I placed a rather thick report for your review. Each year, state law requires that we put together and provide to you prior to posting online salary and benefits report for certified staff, and we also include administrators in that report. I'd like to take a moment to thank Jerry Hammer in HR, who did yeoman's work on putting the report together and does every year. And we have in this report, it goes back to the 2022-23 school year. And again, this is a report we do annually to comply with state law.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on now to the consent agenda. Sorry.
Remember we added 3140 for first reading?
Yes.
Add that to number 6 under information.
Okay. What do I need to say?
So just number 6.
Number 6.
This
the
is a first reading. 340.
Okay, of 340. So number 6. This is the first reading of 3:40.
And then Jen, for a question for the consent agenda, do I add this? Do we approve this tonight since we've already had 2 readings of this? The 3:50. Deliberation agenda. So I don't need to add it to consent. Okay, perfect. We just didn't know, so I thought I'd ask awkwardly in front of everyone during our meeting. Are we ready to read the consent
They're
agenda?
ready to read the
Okay.
consent agenda.
The consent agenda tonight is number 1, gifts to school district year to date, $95,724.42. Number 2, payment of bills. Number 3, payment for travel. Number 4, human resources report. Number 5, budget resolution. Number 6, Annie Jo Gordon Community Learning Center 8th grade field trip. Number 7, Envision Mathematics Algebra 1 resources for 8th grade students. Number 8, School Mart calculators for Algebra 1 for 8th grade students. Number 9, Sponsorship Board Manual High School. Number 10, Richwood High School overnight trip. Number 11, Richwood High School overnight trip. Number 12, Richwood High School basketball trip. Number 13, hire additional campus safety officers to staff all district buildings. And that is the conclusion of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Vice President Reinking. Are there any items that any board member would like to have pulled for a separate vote? And at this time, may I please get a motion to adopt or approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Can I ask a question? I do want a discussion. Do we do that now before we vote?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I have a discussion piece before we call roll. Is that okay, Jen?
On a particular item?
Yeah.
And we need to.
Never mind. Nope, let's just vote.
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Now for the reading of the deliberation agenda.
Is that
The policy, yeah.
Okay.
great?
Okay, item number 14, deliberation agenda. Central Office Administrator Residency Policy, policy number 3:50. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve the attached revised residency policy for Central Office Administrators.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll? Or do we have to motion? Is there any discussion on that particular one? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson? President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 15, policy number 5:90, abused and neglected child reporting. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve the attached revised abused and neglected child reporting.
Second.
Was there anyone who wanted any discussion on number 15? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Awesome. Item number 16, policy number 4:190, targeted school violence prevention program. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve the attached revised targeted school violence prevention program.
Second.
Was there any discussion on number 16? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Item number 17, policy number 7:290, adolescent suicide awareness and prevention program. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve the attached revised adolescent suicide awareness and prevention program and the companion administrative procedure.
Second.
Are there any discussions or questions on number 17? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Should I continue? No. Item number 18, expulsion with the expulsion to be held in abeyance. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve expulsion with the expulsion held in abeyance listed on the report dated September 25th, 2023 be approved as presented.
Was there any discussion or questions on number 18? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Item number 19, expulsion. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve expulsion listed on the report dated September 25th, 2023 be approved as presented.
Second.
Are there any questions or discussions on number 19? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Item number 20, suspension, review / appeal. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve the suspension, review / appeal listed on the report dated September 25th, 2023 be approved as presented.
Are there any questions or discussion on number 20? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye, I'm sorry.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on now to presentation and suggestions by board members.
I would like to just mention something. The Mind Over Matter 2 project led by the Yanni Collective is kind of in its final phases and will be redesigning the restrooms in starting with Manual High School. Just want to note that any positive words of affirmation, any words of inspiration, any words of encouragement that you would like to provide to a student, we will be placing these quotes inside the restroom for students to see. So if there was something that you wanted to say to a student, here's your chance to say it. Quotes can be submitted. You can go to Yanni Collective Facebook page and see the link from there to where you would submit a quote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was a request from another board member, but just to put it out so the public knows, and we can make kind of the formal request from Mr. Willis. Hey, I needed your to have kind of a breakdown of what each line of our budget means, and kind of just a brief overview presentation, a requested presentation, so that we know what when you're talking budget lines that we have a good kind of representation and summary of what each of those lines is. So I'd like to have that formal request out.
Thank you. Were there any other?
I would just say take your time, make sure you hit all your check marks so we can get this accomplished.
All right, reports from board committees.
Our next meeting is in 2 weeks or before the October meeting. So the policy committee will be setting a meeting date before our next October meeting.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
Parent Teacher Advisory Committee will be October 10th at 8 a.m.
And did you have a buildings and ground meeting coming up? Not yet. Okay. Okay. All right. At this time, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.